Welcome to today's deep dive. We've got a massive 2026 institutional research report on the TRON network stacked up for you today.
A really massive one, yeah.
Right. And our mission here is to discover exactly how TRON shook off its early reputation.
You know, that speculative, entertainment-focused platform.
Exactly. How it went from that to become a systemically critical global settlement rail. Just to give you an idea of the sheer scale we were talking about, the network processed $2.2 trillion in the fourth quarter of 2025 alone.
It is a staggering amount of volume, and you really don't hit those numbers without completely re-engineering the actual user experience of interacting with a blockchain.
Okay, let's unpack this because TRON has a highly unique economic model. The report mentions they split computational costs into two distinct resources, bandwidth and energy.
Instead of relying on standard transaction fees, right?
Yeah. So how does staking the native TRX token actually eliminate those volatile gas auctions we see on other chains?
It's a great question. By staking, TRX users are essentially prepaying for utility. Think about it. You don't pay Amazon Web Services a micro fee every single time you load a Netflix movie, right?
Right, you just hit play.
Exactly. TRON is trying to bring that exact same invisible infrastructure to crypto. It creates this frictionless experience that mimics everyday Web 2 apps.
Which is huge for adoption, especially in emerging markets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For people dealing with hyperinflationary local currencies, this model empowers them to transfer digital dollars like USDT across the globe for fractions of a cent.
It just abstracts away the infrastructure costs.
Yeah, it removes the friction from everyday financial survival for you and everyone else using the network.
And the numbers validate that utility. The report highlights a truly surprising metric from January 2026. TRON generated $160 million in base layer revenue,
Decisively beating out Ethereum's $89 million.
It's essentially become a highly efficient cash-generating machine based on everyday use.
What's fascinating here is the architectural compromise they made to achieve those metrics. TRON utilizes a delegated proof-of-stake system, which relies on an elected cohort of just 27 super representatives to validate blocks.
Right.
Because of this, TRON has a Nakamoto coefficient of 14.
Meaning it would only take 14 of those representatives colluding to compromise the network. So they are basically admitting they aren't trying to be the most decentralized chain, they just want to be the fastest.
Spot on. The network deliberately sacrifices extreme decentralization to guarantee the deterministic speed, cost predictability, and absolute finality that global finance actually requires.
Because you can't run global commerce if transaction times and fees wildly fluctuate.
Exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting because operating at that massive global scale puts TRON right in the middle of some intense political crosscurrents. The report lays out a massive juxtaposition here.
It's a very complex landscape.
On one hand, you have TRON hosting 15% of the total supply of USD1, which is the stablecoin backed by the Trump family. But on the flip side, the report outlines critics raising national security flags over alleged historical ties between TRON's early distribution and the Chinese Communist Party, alongside a massive 2023 SEC lawsuit against TRON's founder that is currently stayed by the courts.
It is incredibly complex. Traditional institutions are constantly having to weigh those regulatory and political realities against the undeniable yield and utility the network provides.
And we are just imparting what the research says here to you, not taking any sides.
Of course. But what's wild is that while all this political drama swirls around technologically, the network is plowing ahead into a completely different frontier for 2026. Agentic AI.
Right. They are actively building autonomous infrastructure.
Yes, so that large language models and software bots can execute complex cross-border payments entirely independent of human authorization.
They are literally laying down the rails for a machine-to-machine economy.
You bypass human bottlenecks altogether, yeah.
So what does this all mean? Well, a major culmination of this institutional push is the pending March 27, 2026 deadline for the Canary Stake TRX ETF.
Which is a huge milestone.
If approved, it would allow traditional investors to harvest native blockchain yields right through their brokerage accounts, treating TRX almost like a tech stock that pays dividends.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, reaching that level of traditional institutional trust requires aggressive self-policing.
Like TRON's T3 financial crime unit.
Exactly. Partnering with TRM Labs and Tether to actively freeze illicit assets and cooperate with global law enforcement, you don't get Wall Street integration without playing ball on compliance.
It really is a massive shift from where the network started.
It definitely is.
We want to leave you with one final thought to explore on your own today. If agentic AI succeeds, and autonomous bots eventually become the primary entities executing financial transactions, how will digital economies restructure themselves when human psychology and our emotional reactions to transaction fees is completely removed from the market? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.